Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 27 things that I quit to simplify my life and make space for what truly matters. Let's get into it. The first thing I quit was comparing myself to others. This can often be easier said than done, but I think that once you quit the comparison game and really start focusing on your own journey, your own path in life, however unique that may be, you're going to be so much happier and life is going to feel so much simpler and not stressful when you're just always worried about comparing yourself and your life to everyone else's, especially with social media. So I quit doing that. I quit comparing myself to others and I feel so much better about it. Second thing I quit to simplify my life is overcommitting. I just quit simply saying yes to everything and just prioritizing what really mattered and what was really important to make time for. When you can be clear on what your values are and what your goals are in life, anything that doesn't align with that, just say no to it. You don't have to commit to things that don't align with your values and your goals. Third thing I quit is perfectionism. And this was a hard one for me. Always striving for perfection. The old me, never would have even started this YouTube channel if it wasn't for quitting perfectionism, because I've always been the type of person that if I can't do something perfectly, I'm just not going to do it at all. And that led to a very stressful and unfulfilling life because you probably miss out on a lot that way. So I quit perfectionism. I just started embracing the imperfection in my life and I've been so much happier. Allowing yourself to learn from the mistakes that you make in life without that harsh judgment on yourself is so important. The fourth thing I quit is clutter. And I'm still working on this. I'm still in the process of quitting this, but simply just not holding on to things that don't serve a purpose in my life, don't add value to my life. Quitting all of that clutter has been invaluable. Learning to declutter my space regularly has been such an important thing in my life. Number 5, I quit the negative self-talk. Learning to treat yourself with kindness and compassion is something that can take time for some of us to learn, and it can be hard to do if we haven't been doing this our whole lives. But getting in the habit of quitting all of the negative self-talk and just constantly criticizing yourself and switching that out for speaking nice things to yourself and constantly giving yourself compliments and encouragement, it really does make such a big difference in your day-to-day life, and you will see the impact in how you feel and how you go about yourself and your life on a day-to-day when you're not always criticizing yourself. Number 6, mindless consumption. I simply quit buying things that I don't need. I'm not just gonna buy things to fill this void of like, I just need to be happy right now, so I'm gonna buy something to make me feel better. I stopped doing that. I stopped all the mindless consumption, and I only now purchase things that I've intentionally thought about and I know are going to add some sort of value to my life. Number 7, toxic relationships. Honestly, if you just make it a point to quit spending time with people who drain your energy or bring any sort of negativity into your life, you're just going to feel so much better. Making it a point to surround yourself with people who support you, who bring positivity into your life. It's really true what they say about like you're a reflection of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Like there's some truth to that, I think. The more you surround yourself with people who are negative or not a good influence in your life or just bring a bad energy, that's going to become you too. And so quit hanging out with those people and quit those relationships. Number 8, I quit the busyness. More specifically, I quit glorifying busyness. Like I don't even respond to people anymore when they say, oh, how's life? How are things? I don't say, oh, good, but busy. Like I stopped saying that because I'm not busy. I don't want to be busy. I don't glorify being busy. I prioritize rest. I try and make it a point to not be busy. And instead, I like to make time for activities and things that nourish my soul and make me feel rested and relaxed and rejuvenated and not burnt out. Number 9, I'm working on quitting unhealthy habits. And this can be everything from poor eating habits to not exercising enough and too much screen time. This is a work in progress. This is something that I've made a point to quit and to instead swap with healthier habits like less screen time and better nourishing food and moving my body more, because at the end of the day, we all know how much better we feel when we do those things. And to say it out loud, I'm gonna quit eating crappy food, I'm gonna quit looking at my phone before bed, and actually trying to make a point to do it makes you feel so much better. Number 10, I quit living beyond my means, and I don't think that myself or my husband, my family, I don't think we did this in the first place. I just think that I've quit having to worry about trying to keep up with the Joneses or feeling like maybe our house isn't good enough. Maybe we need a bigger, better house, or we need these things because everyone else seems to have these things. I don't worry about that anymore. I think it can oftentimes lead to this cycle of just always wanting more and bigger and better, and I don't want to get in the habit of feeling unsatisfied with the things in my life that I do have and be grateful for that. So I quit living beyond my means or feeling like I need to live beyond my means. Number 11, I quit gossiping. almost, I think. I'm working on it. It's not an easy thing to quit. What I'll do is I'll try to not engage in conversations that I feel are gossiping, or where I feel somebody might be gossiping, or I try to deflect and maybe change the conversation if I feel like it's going in a way that isn't talking kindly or compassionately about others, because at the end of the day, it's just not a good thing to do. It doesn't feel good when someone talks about us. We shouldn't feel good talking about others, and so I'm quitting gossiping. 12, I quit procrastinating all the time. I find that oftentimes I would put off, especially like tasks in the house, things that I didn't want to do. I would put them off and put them off, and I would just feel guilty after about all the stuff not getting done because I just didn't feel like doing it. And so now I make a point to try and tackle those tasks that you don't really want to do early, first thing in the morning, get them done, not putting it off. You just feel better and more motivated throughout the rest of the day. So I quit procrastination. Number 13, and I think I've talked about this before, I quit multitasking. I don't think it's something that we should do ever. It's hard, especially when you're a mom and you have little kids, to not multitask. It seems inevitable that it's just something you have to do. But if you stop and slow down and try and just do one thing at a time, you feel a lot less overwhelmed, and you actually complete each task a lot more efficiently and better than if you were to multitask and try and get too much done at the same time. You're not giving each task the proper attention that it needs and deserves. And ultimately, when we're multitasking, you never really find yourself in the present moment. You're too busy with too much going on at one time. And so slowing down and single tasking can allow you to be much more present. Number 14, I quit the fear of failure. And like I said before with the perfectionism, I also probably wouldn't have started this YouTube channel if I was constantly so afraid to fail, because it's just part of life. Failing is part of life, and if you're always afraid to fail, you're gonna find yourself held back from ever pursuing your dreams. Number 15, I quit excessive screen time. I talked a little bit about this when I mentioned quitting like unhealthy habits of excessive screen time. Just limiting it, not mindlessly scrolling on my phone, using it for productive means. And if I'm watching something on television, I'm not just mindlessly watching something in the background. I'm actually focused and paying attention to what I'm watching, making any screen time intentional and not mindless and excessive. And kind of in relation to that, number 16 is I quit negative media consumption. Honestly, right now with social media, it's so easy to just be flooded with information, both good and bad, but there's so much bad and there's so much negative all the time. And if you constantly let that into your life, you're just gonna feel the effects of the negativity. And so I just quit listening to it. I quit looking for it. And if it comes my way, I try and just move on past it. And I feel a lot happier and more at peace when I'm not constantly overwhelmed by negative media all the time. Number 17, I quit overthinking. I quit like overanalyzing every decision I'm making all the time. And I just learned to trust my instincts. Honestly, the more that you practice being mindful and present and just in the moment, your instincts are actually pretty good and pretty trustworthy, and you don't have to worry about overthinking so much all the time. You're just gonna naturally, intuitively make good decisions. Number 18, I quit people pleasing, or like trying to always please other people at the expense of myself. I used to find myself oftentimes sacrificing like my own needs and my own desires to please other people, and that very quickly leads to a lot of unhappiness. Instead, I've now learned to set some boundaries and prioritize self-care and self-respect. Number 19, I quit living in the past. It's one thing to look back and learn from things of our past, but to constantly dwell in the past is so unhealthy, and it's gonna prevent us from living in the present moment, which is so much of what I'm trying to do in my life, is to just be more present and more mindful of this moment. And when you're constantly thinking and living in the past and dwelling on the past, you're never gonna get there. So I quit that. Number 20, I quit rushing through life. Again, this is part of slowing down. I was just sick and tired of living this life where I felt like I'm just trying to get through moment by moment, day by day, just to get to the next stage of life or the next part of life. And it's a horrible way to go about life, because before you know it, all those stages are gonna be gone and you're gonna be at the end of your life and you have nothing to show for it but the fact that you just rushed through it all and you weren't ever really present. So I think giving up and quitting that whole rush through life, trying to get to the next stage of life, and slowing down and being more present and more mindful of where you are right now is going to lead to a much more peaceful life. Number 21, I quit overthinking my wardrobe all the time. I quit holding on to clothes that I don't wear or that I don't feel good in. Embraced a much more simple and minimal wardrobe, and it has completely changed my life. Number 22, I quit unrealistic expectations. I quit setting them for myself and for others. It's been a hard thing for me to do, but I've had to learn to embrace more flexibility because life has its ups and downs. And when you constantly have expectations for yourself and for others, you often find yourself disappointed, and that's not a good feeling. So quitting those expectations and just being adaptable to all those ups and downs in life is going to make you much more happy. 23, I quit neglecting self-care. Especially as a mother, it's very easy to put yourself on the back burner. But by not prioritizing your physical, your mental, your emotional well-being, you're going to burn out. And so it's important to prioritize that time for yourself. 24, I quit living for other people's approval. I stopped worrying about the fact that I need others' approval to feel some sort of validation about myself and my life, just to embrace my own uniqueness, my own way of life, and I don't need validation from anybody else. It allows me to live a lot more authentically. Number 25, I quit worrying about things that are simply out of my control. Learn to let go of the worry of everything that's out of your control and only focus on the things you can control. You're going to be a lot more at peace with your day-to-day life. You're not going to constantly feel stressed and worried and anxious about every little thing that you simply can't control anyway. Number 26, I quit ignoring the things in life that I was passionate about. Again, the third time I'm going to use this YouTube channel as an example. It's something that I've always been passionate about and that I've wanted to pursue, and it's something that I ignored for a long time because I just didn't give myself the permission to pursue that passion. And so by quitting ignoring these desires, I've actually made time to pursue something that I love. And number 27, I quit not asking for help. I've always been a proud person, and I like to do everything myself and feel very accomplished that way. And especially as a mother of 4 young kids, trying to do everything yourself and not ask for help is not going to go very well sometimes. Asking for help, I have learned, is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. By quitting a lot of these habits and behaviors, you can make space in your life for so much peace and joy and fulfillment. You just have to remember that simplifying your life is an ongoing process. We can't rush into a slower, simpler life. It's just not going to happen. And so give yourself some grace and celebrate any progress that you're making along the way. I hope you got some inspiration from this list of things that you can quit to help simplify your life. And if you did, please like this video, consider subscribing to the channel for more videos all about minimalism and simple living, and I will see you in my next video.